when it's wonderful, as y'all know, when it works, you go into a scene, you have 16 different ways to tell the truth. When you're stuck, sometimes you're just trying to protect from telling a lie. Not near as fun. Sometimes you're just like, man, I'm not feeling it. I just feel like I've got to connect the dots, and that's all I really can do. I don't have the song. I don't feel myself in flight. Now, when it's worked, and what I try to find now is from the inside out, get the guy's monologue. And this is something that's kind of come to me and really helped me in the last couple of years. Get the guy's monologue, then I can have the dialogue. Then I can do a scene if I got the monologue. If I know what's the Socratic dialogue of the man that I'm playing, then have the dialogue. And it's not about the words.
I go much more realistic. I've never been one to really purchase that, oh, if you can dream it, it can happen. And also, if you can enjoy the process, if you're only going for the result, if you're only doing it because you want a certain result, it's going to be probably a long and arduous and unhappy journey. But if you can enjoy the process of it because you just love doing it and you work to get better at whatever that is, you're probably gonna have better results.
Catch. I love it when you catch somebody in a scene. I love entrances and exits. I love doing all the work about, well, let's backload about where the guy's coming from and why, how he got here, and where's he going. I love to finish scenes. Anytime there's the old ... finish it out, write it out. Expound, just finish, right? And I write a lot on scripts, write way more than I ever actually say, but I have it. It loosens me up on the entrance and the exit, and I like it when I'm seeing actors. And I think I like my work best when I'm feeling like I'm being caught, coming in, and caught going out. And maybe if it's in the entire picture, if you feel like that 2 hours that you watched was not just a finite piece of the story. I like watching films and characters that I'm watching the film and I love imagining what they were doing the 5 years before and where they're going after that, the 5 years after. There's always a prequel and a sequel and a follow-up, even if there's not in films. I like to at least have that understanding and feel, I let my imagination go, that I got a real good idea what this guy was doing the last 5 years and what they'll be doing for the next 50.
I'm gonna see the glass half full kind of guy, and I think that was bred into me by my parents as well. I remember my mother always saying we would, as kids, gripe about something, and she was like, you sound like the kid griping about no shoes. Well, I'm going to introduce you to the kid with no feet. So we were taught in my family to get relative very quickly if you think you've got it bad.
People that I've talked about that out, and I'm not going to say their names because I haven't made the movies, but their stories are still out there to be made. And what you hear how them talk about themselves on Friday night is great. Talk to them Sunday night. I never spoke like that. No, I would never use those words. I never did those things. And you're like, oh, okay, Sunday came. Went to church. Thinking about post-mortem. I need. How am I going to look? What shadow am I leaving? Talk to them next Thursday night. I was wilder than that. So I did this and then. So you have to read between the lines. And usually I think the Friday night version is more true. Who they are. So gotta listen to things. I try to listen to things like that. That's what I mean when I say read between the lines a little bit. And a lot of times it's what they're saying when they're not talking, or when you catch them when they don't feel like they don't feel like it's a proverbial Sunday night and they need to give the best version of themselves.
Well, I didn't know what I wanted to do. Like most kids graduating high school, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I ended up going to school to study law. I thought I was going to be a lawyer, and it was something around my sophomore year in college, was not sleeping well with. And I remember the phone call, and I was very nervous about the phone call to my mom and my dad about saying I'd like to not pursue law, and I'd like to go to film school and study behind the camera. And I really thought that news was not going to be received well. And I remember my father saying, "Is that what you want to do?" And I said, "Yes, sir." Another pause on the phone. And he says, "Well, don't half-ass it." And he was behind me, and Mom and Dad were both behind me from that day, and supported what now turned out to be a career. And I was glad my father was around. He was still alive for me to start my first job and something that turned into a career for me.